But I want to talk to you guys about this video. You guys have been sending me this video, telling me I should talk about it. It is by Isis, who is the trophy wife. And she uploaded a video which has now gone viral. It's at 1.3 million views. Her story has touched many, many, many people. And there's a lot of conversation around it, right? Because of what took place. Now, if you haven't watched it, I'll do another review where I'll break down her actual video. What I actually did is I went back and I went to watch the other videos, because you know how I like to do my things. I like to try and break things down in a very systematic way to help you guys be able to make more educated decisions when you are dating. When I went back and I looked at some of her content, I said, oh, there's some issues here. And I want to say this first and foremost, and I've said this before, that I want to be very, very sensitive to the fact that this is not about blame. Okay, all right. This is not about blame. This is not. She was not the responsible. She's not at fault as to why the guy did what he did. He did what he did because he's a criminal, he's a crook, and he's diabolical. And now diabolical doesn't even sound too good. It's evil to have done what this man did to not only her children but to her as well. So if you don't know the story, I'd advise you to go and watch it. I'll do another breakdown maybe tomorrow when I'm back in Birmingham, and I can do a proper breakdown for you guys when I can show you the video. But what I did is I went back and I went to watch some of her other content, and I think this gave us a far more better understanding of where she was actually coming from, as to why this potentially situation where she dated a man that was 20 years her senior. Okay, all right, 20 years her senior. When you hear the beginning of the story, you might actually begin to understand where we've kind of got to this particular point and why we got to this particular point. Because I looked at it and I said, wait, hold on. Let me even get my notes up so I can do this video as well. Right, I said, hold on. Oh, there is a backstory to this where there is her childhood of what she experienced. She had gone through, sexual violence herself. And so that was what actually prompted her also to be able to take her daughter's claims very, very seriously and get out there. I want to commend her. First of all, we should commend her, because at the end of the day, the first thing first is that once she realized it happened to her daughter, she got out of there. And having worked with many, many clients in the last 6 months, I can tell you there are many mothers who have denied their children when there have been issues when it comes to sexual violence by a stepdad or even a dad. So first and foremost, I want to commend the lady from ISIS, because first and foremost, there are so many parents out there who have denied that their children have gone through sexual violence by the hands of their partner. So I don't want to belittle that aspect. She did so well to get out of there, right? She made a plan immediately. She says, I need to find a way out of this. I'm not even going to confront him. I'm out of there. And I loved that, because I think there's so many people who don't do that and who cause further damage because they're looking to stay in a relationship. So we do have to give her so much grace and just so much compassion and so much love in this situation, because no one should go through this. But my issue that I have here is that many women are going through this, right? So many women are experiencing this, and we talk about this all the time, but we now can see it in real time. We are a generation that is going to see some of these behaviors that were done in the dark and in the shadows behind the scenes. We're going to see it in real time, how it affects people and generations to come, because we are the generation that are going to speak up, and we're not going to allow it to happen. When I say not allow it to happen, what I mean by that is we're going to speak up and we're gonna call people out, right? Whereas our previous generations were saying, let's just let it be and continue onwards. We are the generation that are trying to say, no, we're gonna call your ass out, because we can't accept that. And so what we saw in her story, which is so moving, is that what she experienced was an unfortunate, I call it a generational pattern of, curses, and because what she experienced, her daughter also experienced. And what we saw is her explaining a story of how she had also gone through something in the past. And so her daughter now has experienced this based on a choice of man that she chose. And now this wicked, evil man, let me put it what it is, okay, all right? This wicked, evil man did a diabolical, evil thing to her children. So now her daughters are going to have to kind of recuperate and heal in areas that she would have had to do as well. It's a generational pattern. And because so many women go through this, so many black women, let's talk about our black people, we're not going to talk about anybody else, but our black young girls go through this, right? And so I know, and you know, it's for me, it's sickening. And so I think once I went back into this, when I went back into her story, I'm gonna play the audio. I don't have the video like I normally do. Okay, so I have the audio that I'm gonna play, but I'm gonna play not the main video. I'm gonna play a video of how she got with that man, and I'm gonna break it down to how I started. When I started listening, I said, "Oh my God, this is that generational pattern," and this is what we coach. This is what I talk about when I coach people, and I'm like wanting to highlight, look, this. These are the issues because there is a pattern, and the way that we choose partners is based upon the lenses like this. And it's not clean right now, but that's exactly how we look through things. We have a lens that we look at through life, and when we choose partners, we use the same lens. So if the lens is broken, if the lens is wonky, if the lens is distorted, the way that we look at people, we don't look at them in the way that we probably should look at them. Now, when I listen back to her story, I'm going to play some audio from her past videos, and also notice that she had videos of following Shira Seven and Kevin Samuels. Can I be very honest with you? Shira Seven, why I don't like some of her stuff. Okay, why I don't like Shira Seven and I don't like Kevin Samuels, because I think they exploit the pain of people in order to promote what I would call things that are manipulative and don't actually help people in long-term relationships. I don't like either of them. I can't blame them for what actually happened here. You know what I'm saying to you, right? I can't blame them for that, because whether she chose a provider or non-provider, this behavior is prevalent in men that are broke, rich, either way. All right. So it is not about her choosing a provider and wanting a provider. It is actually about the broken lens that leads someone to choose someone who has actually characteristics and traits. And it's, if you noticed, and this is something that I've noticed myself. Okay, this is my thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this as well, right? What I've noticed is that people that have gone through sexual violence at a very young age tend to find themselves with other partners or people, or drawn to people that have certain characteristics that tend to follow that same route again, right? It almost feels like it's like like it's almost like they seek these people, but it's not necessarily that. It's because the lens has been broken, and because there's so many wounds that person is carrying, self-esteem issues, there are self-worth issues, okay? There are issues within the heart that the person hasn't solved that leads us to people who are willing to take advantage of your lack of a self-esteem and lack of self-worth, right? Abusers, okay, manipulators look for people with lack of self-esteem, poor boundaries, okay, all right, and also people that are with low self-worth, right? The hunter is looking for those who prey are wounded. And so, as somebody said in the chat as well, it is a spirit. And so the spirit manifests itself psychologically, though, in a space of, so we can talk about spirit. It is a spirit. I want to agree. It is a spirit of wickedness and defilement and perverseness. Okay. The spirit of perversity is what was working in that space, right? For someone to do that is a spirit of perversity. How it manifests itself in the physical realm is that it manifests itself in the area of when people, it seeks for people with so low self-worth. It looks for people with poor boundaries and low self-esteem. And those people tend to be desperate. So, and to the hungry man, the Bible says, to the hungry man, everything bitter tastes sweet. You see what I'm saying to you? So until and you know, we can go deep and spiritual. Maybe I'll go that another time. We'll go down that lane another time, right? About praying about certain things like that. Because this year I took upon myself to pray about some of those things. I won't say in too deep because I don't think it's the time yet. But this year I took upon myself to say, well, I'm going to pray about those things, because there is a spirit behind it as well as a psychological aspect. You know what I'm saying too? We can do both. Okay. And so I want you to listen to the story. Listen to the story. I want you to listen to her the story before the one she released about the man's a monster. I want you to listen to this story because I think it really opened my eyes again to this kind of generational patterns that people kind of follow. So listen to the story here.
Basically turned into a child raising a child. I, a few years later, had my second child. So after having two children, And being a single mom, I think that my self-esteem was definitely low. I didn't know that at the time, but if I think back about the kind of men that I was choosing, it definitely was a reflection of my lower self-esteem.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys could hear it. Can you guys hear that in the chat? If you can hear it, just say yes, you can hear that in the chat. Please tell me you can hear that in the chat. Now, her beginning origin story, she tells us at 19, she decided to have a child purposefully. Now, I don't know about you guys. At 19, if I was trying to get the only time I remember having a thought about being pregnant, about having a child, was when I was stupid enough that, when you have that situation with your ex-girlfriend and, you guys are just trying to make it work because you want to keep each other together. You have this stupid conversation about, getting each other pregnant, right? But you never take it seriously, yeah? But she decided at 19 to have a child. And then a couple of years later, have a second child. Now, where does that put you? Well, it can put you in a very awkward position because now when you're in a dating market, I want to be very frank with you, you got two kids and potentially, a father of your kids that you're not actually with. And now you're looking for somebody to be in a relationship with. But it actually goes before then because of what she had experienced in her own childhood of sexual violence, right? Because she had suffered sexual violence in her own childhood, now the decisions that she's making are going to be ones that are chaotic. Right? The decisions she's now going to make are going to be chaotic. And so, because she thrives in the chaos, because she's existed in the chaos, she survived the chaos, right? When you have survived the chaos in your childhood and lived in it and had to survive and go through it, you tend then to be somebody who can, quote unquote, exist in that same chaos, which is why those predators and those abusers tend to find the same people that have experienced those chaoses in their young lives and then put them in the same process again, because it smells, looks, and tastes exactly what you're familiar with. It's why we call it a familiar spirit. Oh, I don't want to go deep. We're just not going to pray here. But anyway, listen, that's what we call it, familiar spirit. It is very familiar to you. Some of the patterns, but some of the old, how should you say this, actions, and things that you experience, they come back around again, right? Right? As someone might say, the universe brings it around again for you to learn the lesson, if you want to call it that, right? But actually, really and truly, it's the wounds that take us around the same cycle that we don't need to be in. Okay? All right? Okay. So let's listen a bit more to what she said.
I think that growing up, I was not taught the kind of men that I should be looking to attract and be in a relationship with. My mom drilled into me, oh, go with the man that's going to be the best breeder. And I think society drilled into me to go after the thug, the street dude, the swag type dude, or whatever you want to call it. But neither one of those was the best approach to going about dating and attracting a husband.
Now, she said, obviously, when she was younger, her mom said, just go for the one that's just nice to you. And then I went into society. Society says, then go for whoever the man is that, just a thug, that's a bad boy. But again, of course, when you're young, those are that's not necessarily a surprise. We're all young and we like to go for the bad girl or the bad guy, right? But as you get older, you need to learn that most of us start to learn that isn't going to work for us. But as you notice in life and you look around, a lot of people don't learn that lesson. They thrive with that bad boy, that bad woman. They thrive with that toxic girl and that toxic man. They thrive, including myself, right? And it takes a little bit of while because you have to have different inputs that bring a different output so that you can make different decisions. That is why God is so important, because what God does is that he kind of finds the information that you need, that knowledge that you need straight away, and kind of readdresses the identity issue that we have. And I have one of them. Now, I can't lie to you, myself, I'm always trying to learn my identity because I've got some issues. You know what I'm saying to you, from a young age. So she said she would go after the super nice guy, but then obviously as she realized she would have to go after the thugs, right? So we're gonna speed up a little bit more, and she can listen to this as well. Okay, so what she said, Shira 7 kind of taught her a little bit as well. So we'll go to that aspect as well. Okay, here we go.
Person is probably doing to get money is not sustainable and probably not something that you would want to be involved in. And after learning quickly that everything that glitters is not gold, I happened to come across Shira 7 on YouTube, and she completely changed my life. And she basically taught me what a high value man is and what to look for when trying to find a husband. So I ended up taking my sister's advice and signing up for eHarmony.
Okay, so she said obviously that Shira 7 taught her how to find a good high value man. Listen, I think Shira 7 is not the worst, but you know what I mean? I'm not saying Shira 7 is the worst, but because and I remember someone close to me spoke about this about Shira 7, sprinkle, sprinkle. And I said, listen, when you start going down that lane, what you're going to do is you're going to go down the manipulation route. And the problem with manipulation is if you're not very much aware, if you're not very tuned in, if you haven't had the experience of, really understanding the dynamics of what manipulation looks like in a relationship from your perspective or even from a man's perspective, there's a maturity that needs to come into play before you start listening to Shira 7, so that you can throw some things away and keep some things. It's the same thing when it's the same thing what happened with Kevin Samuels, right? There were some good things that Kevin Samuels was saying. I can't lie to you, there was. But for men, a lot of the stuff he was saying, their men are not mature to be able to chew out the bones, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Right? It is hard for the men because they've not ever encountered a good woman. So when they listen to Kevin Samuels, all they go into is they go into a place of manipulation. And love isn't about manipulating. And so when you listen to these people that don't operate from a space of love, but from a place of manipulation to try and get whatever you want, you're more than likely, without maturity, going to find yourself in that same space. Now, this young lady has told us already about her childhood already, that she had gone through sexual violence. So you to listen to someone like Shira 7 or Kevin Samuels, it will sound like good information because it's chaotic. It's the same chaos. It is exactly the same chaos that feeds into the low esteem and low self-worth. It's the same information. It is the same vibration, same energy that feeds into that low self-esteem and low self-worth. Both Kevin Samuels and Shira 7 had those traits when they speak about certain topics and the way they dealt with relationships. Now, I'm not saying that I think Kevin Samuels was a bit more worse than Shira 7, to be honest. But anyway, that's another story for another day, right? So in that space, I found out. Now, let's listen to the actual story, because the story that she gave about how she moved in, I can. That's why I said it was chaotic, okay? Because of the way that she moved. Okay, let's listen.
Time. It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, but we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it. I know that the universe guru talks about having.
Hold on. Listen to this.
Put all your eggs in one basket, but we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it.
Okay, so she said the very first date ever, the man said he wanted her to be a girlfriend on the very first date. Now, can I be very honest with you? I think for people that are secure, this ain't an issue. But for those of us, and that's many of us, who are insecure, what I mean by that is our attachments, this ain't it. Okay? This ain't it. Let me tell you why it's not it. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of us have gone through life, okay, where our parents didn't treat us the way that we need to be treated. Either, whether it was because our parents didn't know what love was, whether our parents were not as attentive or attuned, whether we, felt like our parents weren't there for us, whatever it is, your broken background. Okay, your broken background. Those of us who got broken backgrounds do not need to get married within the first, someone takes your girlfriend on the very first date, because the problem is that we don't have a very good discernment because of what we've experienced. And you can tell, because if you look at your past relationship, you'll look at it and you go, my record ain't great. And if my record ain't great, probably someone asked me to be the girlfriend on the very first date. That ain't it. Now let's listen to the story a bit more, because the story is really intriguing.
I know that the universe guru talks about how you shouldn't fall into the girlfriend trap, and it was kind of something that I just intuitively knew, like, I'm not just going to agree to be your girlfriend just after meeting you, because I know that you just want me to be your girlfriend so that you can get in my pants. So
now listen to what she just said. I'll hear it for you. She said, I'm not going to fall into the girlfriend trap, because, that's what she's been told. I'm not going to fall into the girlfriend trap because, you need to be your girlfriend so that you can just sleep with me. Now, I hear it. You know, she's not lying. She's not lying in this aspect. There's a truth behind it. Like in essence, there is an aspect where we're saying that there is a truth in terms of don't just becoming that girlfriend. Know what to know that you have to you're ready to escalate. You're going somewhere. You have a vision in your mind. No problem at all. The problem is that it lacks a certain nuance because, and you know that because of the way that you're handling the topic, which is going to happen next. Listen to this.
I didn't agree, and we both were, we were talking, but then for some reason we kind of stopped talking for a little while, and we both were dating other people and doing our own thing, and then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap, but that got...
No, pause it right there. She said she ended up getting into a relationship with somebody else. She ended up falling for the girlfriend trap. There is no girlfriend trap. Can I be honest with you? There isn't a girlfriend trap. Most of us in this 2024 are going to be boyfriend or girlfriends before you get married, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you have your escalation. You have a time frame in your mind. Maybe you got a year and you said, listen, I got a year and that's it, right? Or you're having very conscientious, very intentional conversations about going into marriage, right? You want to get to a marriage stage. That's fine. Your intentionality will draw people out who are not intentional. There is no trap to the girlfriend trap. But I hear what she's saying, right? Because again, that's what's been taught. But listen to what she's going to say. She then gets into a very serious relationship. I want you to pay attention to what's happening here because her mindset is what we're looking at.
I had really investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to agree to be his girlfriend because he asked me multiple times and I finally agreed. So after me and him...
Now pause it right there. I've said this before. I don't... Did you hear what she just said? Okay, let me just go back. I want you to listen very, very carefully. This point here is... Woo.
So I kind of felt like I had to agree.
Sorry, hold on.
Doing our own thing, and then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap. But that guy had really been investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to.
Pause it right there. Many women tell us that, you know what, he was persevering. He was asking me. He just kept on chasing me. Ladies, please, I beg of you, okay? I beg. Understand what perseverance is. Perseverance in this instance is not. He's pestering. Because you kept on saying no. That's not perseverance. Okay? That is not perseverance. He was pestering. And you must learn the difference between the two. See, when someone's persevering, you are giving them something to persevere for. But when they're pestering, you've said no. And you keep on saying no. And they keep chasing you. They're not consistent. They are pestering. And the reason why you can't see it as pestering is because you yourself have a toxic pattern of what it means to be desired and wanted. Right? You have a toxic idea and relationship with what it means to be wanted and desired due to what you have gone through in your childhood. That man, by the way, this isn't the current guy. I want to make it very clear. The person she's talking about is not the current man, the ex-husband. This is a boyfriend before the ex-husband. But it gives you an idea of the mindset so you can understand where we're coming from.
Agreed to be his girlfriend because he asked me multiple times and I finally agreed. So after me and him broke up, well, let me rewind. So me and him ended up breaking up because he just didn't really vibe with my oldest son, who was 5 at the time. I could tell that he was really just putting up with my kids. He didn't really embrace them. Okay,
hold on. I want to forward it.
So we hadn't seen each other. This is all talk, but we're going over FaceTime.
Okay, cool. Hold on.
So I went and got...
Because this part here is where the biscuit got taken. Listen to this.
He was talking... My lease was going to be ending very soon, which is why I went ahead and moved in with my person that had became my ex. We started living together, and I told my husband, I was like, hey...
Pause. I want to make it very, very clear what's happening here. Who she's talking about right now is not her ex-husband, not the guy that did the crazy thing. This is a boyfriend before she met the ex-husband. So what she's telling us right now is this, that ex-boyfriend, as she was leaving that ex-boyfriend, her actual husband her ex-husband now that comes into the picture, right? He now loved the kids. No. The ex-boyfriend did not like her kids the way she wanted him to love them, okay? The current husband did. So I want you to just pay. The reason I'm showing this is because, again, I want you to highlight what's happening here. Because what she's about to tell us is something profound. Listen to this.
So embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I need a place to stay because my lease is ending and I just broke up with my boyfriend, and maybe, even if it's just like for a couple weeks, it's okay. Just want.
Now, the ex-husband that committed the crime, the wicked, diabolical man, okay? Before she knew this, obviously, she didn't know that, of course. She was now leaving the ex-boyfriend. She needed a place to stay because she had 2 kids. I think 2 or 3, I can't remember. She needed a place to stay now. But instead of moving into her own place, she asked the man, hey, I need somewhere to stay. Now, why would she say that? Well, financially, maybe that's why she wanted to save a bit of money. But my problem is that it goes back to that chaos again. It goes back to that understanding of being in chaos, because in this space, you broke up with your boyfriend, you should be leaving. Go into your own house. You should be like, I'm going to my own house. I'm going to find my own flat, even if I don't make it big, I don't have a huge house. For now, I will settle in my own space, get our own thing going on, and then move, right? Even if the crazy thing that he does doesn't happen, why would you think to yourself to ask somebody who you haven't had a relationship with, who you're not trying to fall into a girlfriend trap, then for you to ask the person to move in? No, I want you to understand why we're saying this, because the person likes chaos. And many of us, like chaos. Many of us are born into chaos. We like chaos. I'm one of them. I understand. I'm trying to change. I'm really trying to change. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? Now, because she liked the chaos, and because of what we've been through in childhood, it means that you're oftentimes drawn into chaotic situations. And do you know how you know it's chaotic? Because when you explain to people, she said it herself, oh, this is a little bit embarrassing. No, it's chaotic. And when you explain to somebody else, they'll tell you, it's a little bit chaotic. That's a little bit chaotic. Okay, cool. We've all been here before, you know what I'm saying, G? You know what I'm saying? But just listen to what's going to happen.
Look for, somewhere else, because I had planned on needing to find somewhere else. And he was saying, well, if you're going to live with me, it's going to be as my wife, not as my girlfriend. And I was like, well, how spontaneous are you? And he laughed, and he said, very spontaneous.
So she wanted to move in with a dude, okay? And the dude said, listen, if you want to move in, you can't be my girlfriend, you have to be my wife. Now, listen, it's intentional. I'm not even gonna lie to you. At least it was intentional, right? We're not playing with that. At least it was intentional. But the problem is the fact that we have said we don't want a girlfriend trap, and because we're excited about the marriage aspect, have we done our proper vetting? Have we done our proper vetting of his character and his behavior? And do you know what it is? In the old times, we had more villages, right? And in the village, you can see a man behavior because of the way he treated his family and the way he treated other people. And so you can kind of dodge those kind of people, right? But we're in 2024. We don't see people's villages. We only see IG. And because we don't see them on a daily basis, we don't see what they're really like. You can't actually determine them by watching them move with other people. So it makes it a little bit more harder to really determine whether someone is good for you or bad for you. But here's the thing. What you need to know is that I need to make sure that I have myself in good check. Now, the fact that she wanted to move in with him because she needed a place to stay tells me that we're in desperation. At that point, we're in a dangerous place. Okay? At that point, we're in a dangerous place. Okay? Listen again.
So then I was like, right. So we started entertaining the idea of getting married, like, immediately. And I, didn't want to get my hopes up, so I just said that, he's saying all these things, but I'm going to see what action that he takes.
Now, listen to what she's going to say to you. I need you to pay attention to this. This is big. So she says, hold on. Remember she told us earlier on, we don't want a girlfriend trap. I want you want the marriage. Fine. But to get to this place, she wanted to move in with a guy because she didn't have a place to stay, instead of actually just finding a place to stay for a few weeks. So she's going to move in with a guy. Why not move in with a friend? Why not move in with somebody you might know a little bit more for a few weeks? But she moved in with a guy because, remember, Shira 7 is also pushing you about finding that provider and that kind of man. And Kevin Samuels is telling you about, as a woman, as a single mother, your X, Y, and Z. So you're hearing these negative thoughts and tropes about what you might be. It's contributing towards your low self-esteem, and it's also contributing towards a lens that you're looking through. So now she's asked the gentleman to move in. He says only going to move in if you get married. But listen what she's going to say. I need to see what? Action. Okay, so what action is she looking for? Right? This is where I said, oh my God, what's going on? Listen to this.
And so I had just got paid, and I was like, okay, it seems like we're really talking about seriously entertaining the idea of getting married. So I'm going to go and get the wedding ring. We were talking about getting married like the next week, and he was out of town in Colorado, so we hadn't seen each other. This was all talk over the phone, over FaceTime. So I went and got his ring. I think I paid like $300 for it. It wasn't like a super flashy ring like the one he has now, which is complete.
What did she tell me? She said, hold on, I need to see what action he takes. So why did she take an action? No. If she needs to see what action he takes, why did she take an action? She ended up taking an action, and then she went and bought a ring for him. What? And what? You see, when your mind is not on love, when your mind is not really on love, your mind is on getting the bag, because you come from a chaotic background, you see things in a very different way. And this is chaotic. So now she's in a space buying a ring to prove what? So that he can move to? Okay.
A lot better. But I went and got his ring, and the next time we talked on FaceTime, I was like, I did something. And he was like, what did you do? I was like, I got your wedding ring. So he was like, you did it. Show me. So I showed him. I said, yeah, I actually did it. I don't know if you were really being serious, but, we're talking about getting married. So I had a really bad habit of, spending money. And I was like, if I don't get the ring now, then I'm not going to get it. So I went ahead and got it.
Why was she getting the ring? Why would you want to get a ring? If you need to see what action he's going to take, why would you get a ring? See, the power of the woman is the power to suggest. Don't do, suggest. Can I help you guys out, ladies out specifically? If you want a man to move, suggest. Okay? Suggest. The power of suggestion is what's going to get him there. When she bought the ring, it went beyond a suggestion. Do you see what I'm saying to you? When you bought the ring, it went beyond suggestion. So at that point, you're now moving the aspect. Had she put a catalog of rings in front of him? Okay. Had she went to the jewelers with him, right? Had she gone to the jewelers and said, oh, I like this ring here, and let him do it, then he's moving, but you're now moving. I think this highlights the chaoticness of what I'm talking about.
And that put the fire under him to, I guess, really go and look for my ring. Well, let me rewind. So then after that, I think it was like the next day, somebody told me to go online and check my eHarmony profile. So I went on there and I saw that he had updated his picture. And I was like, oh no, this dude is playing around. Like, I'm glad I didn't spend a whole bunch of money on this ring.
Hold on a minute. She went to check on his eHarmony. Now, why would she go and check on his eHarmony? First of all, because you're still, because you come from a chaotic space, so you can't trust very easily. That's understandable. But you go and check on his eHarmony. He's changed his profile picture on his eHarmony. Hasn't told you, but is serious about marriage. Desperation has a sound, and the people that are manipulators and abusers can hear it. The same way a dog whistle, dogs hear, but humans don't. Desperation has a certain frequency of sound that abusers and manipulators can hear. People that are broken can hear. So when you went and bought the ring, it was an act of desperation. When you told him, act of desperation. And then you went on to eHarmony, and you saw that he had updated his profile. Why? Why? Now listen to what he's going to say as an excuse.
I was playing and I screenshotted it and sent him a picture and I said, it doesn't seem like we're on the same page, so yeah, I'm done with this. And he texted me, he was like, or I think he tried to call me and I didn't answer. And he texted me and he was like, no, I'm serious. I am going to marry you, in caps. And I think that evening he like ended up going and buying my ring.
So the moment she put a bit of pressure on him about we're not on the same wavelength, he then went and bought a ring. So babe, where was the action that he was taking? You didn't give him the action. You told him what to do. In fact, you almost pushed him into a corner to do what you had to do. Now, I'm not saying that she is at fault for why he did what he did. I'm just merely highlighting the steps to how we got here. I want to make it very clear. I put no blame on her as to why this man did this wicked, evil, disgusting, and diabolical thing that he did. I put no blame on her. He must be underneath the jails. He must be underneath the jails. You understand what I'm saying to you? We don't want to put this on anybody else but him. But what I'm talking about is how we end up in these chaotic patterns of relationships because we're doing the exact same thing. And so here, she's ended up buying him the ring, and then she said to him, we're not on the same wavelength. He's now gone and bought the ring after you pressured him about being about the marriage situation. But I thought he said he was I thought he wanted to marry you.
Yeah, he went and bought my ring. And the ring that he got me is not the ring I have now. It was a nice ring, but it wasn't nearly as big as the rock that I'm currently sporting. But when he showed it to me, in my head, I said, it's not about the ring, it's about the marriage. And I definitely think that that's something that you ladies should keep in mind, is that if a man's going to propose to you, don't make it about the ring, because that can really turn a man off and make him think that that's all that you care about is having a big ring, when it's more important to have the marriage. And I knew that in my heart. I was like, all right, I'm not going to say anything about it.
She says it's more important about the marriage and about the individual, but we never heard anything she said about his heart. About the fact, the only thing she ever said was about the fact that he loved the kids. And my light's kind of going, so it's about to get dark in a second, so let me turn on light. I don't even like that light, and I can't even lie to you. We'll leave it as this. It will get dark in a second. But the reality situation is that that we didn't really hear anything about his character. Do you know why? Because she wasn't looking for that. So long as he's kind to the kids, he got a bit of love for her, he got a bit of money he wants. That is why I said that the Shira 7 issue was an issue, because it's about money. It's not about the character and the heart of the individual person. It's about money. It's about high value man who has finances. But what was about his character? What was it about his behavior? What was it about his content? That's what we are needing. So there's no problem choosing a high value man. Please, if you want to choose a high value man financially, go for it, ladies. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Go for it. Why should you suffer in this lifetime? Why should you suffer in this lifetime? You know what I'm saying to you? But if you're going to choose that, make sure we are also looking at the qualities we require from a human being to be in a relationship with. Make sure. Right? Make sure.
Size of the ring, still a nice ring. I'm going to take it and we're going to get married. So we ended up getting married the next week. Everybody was shocked. I randomly called my mom, my grandmother, hey, I'm getting married in a few days. We got married at the courthouse because I told him I don't need a big wedding. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. And we had a really beautiful wedding reception in DC at a really nice restaurant. It was gorgeous. So yeah, that is how I ended up getting married. But I think that also something that I want to let you guys know is that becoming his wife and really being the kind of woman that could just get a ring like that took work. At that time, I had really become a better version of myself, a better version than the woman that was dating thugs and, living in some kind of secular lifestyle. I had to become the kind of woman that a man would want to take around his colleagues and his mother, and be the woman that's adding value to him just by standing next to him. But yeah, I know it's kind of a interesting story, but I also helped 2 of my sisters to get married. They both got married in less than a year as well. So I'm really good at knowing how to get women the ring and to get the kind of men that you would be proud of. So if you ladies are interested in learning more about how to become a trophy wife, then please click subscribe.
Okay, so my final thoughts on this, because my battery's on the low and I need to charge my phone, but my final thoughts on this is this. Okay, and I'll do another video another time. Don't worry. I know it's getting a bit dark as well, so let me see if I can turn a light on and get better. Okay. I don't like the yellow lighting. The lighting I had was beautiful, wasn't it? Not. But okay, last thoughts. So my last final thoughts of this, right, in this situation is this. I think when I'm looking at the situation, right, she told us about how, she is now going to be wanting to coach other women. The coaching isn't the issue. The issue is, and if you've coached with me, you know this already, because people have asked me, what do I need to do to get to the place of getting married? Can I be honest with you? Heal. You've got to heal. Like, it's not just about, presenting yourself outwardly and putting yourself in the right position. Those are good things. But it's about, the fact is, having something isn't the same as also maintaining something. So my thing is, if you've coached with me, you know what I've said is, it's about healing those wounds that you got as a child. Because those things are so painful that they drive you into places that you don't need to be in. They drive you into relationships you don't need to be in. They drive you into places you don't want to be in. Just what I'm saying to you. So I don't mind that she went to Shira 7 or even Kevin Samuels, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, what was the work that needs to be done actually is the healing work. Before the work that comes of, let me find my husband, let me find my man. And I've said this to many people who have coached with me. I said to this, look, you want to find a husband? Go pray, go fast. Go pray, go fast. Oh, God will answer you. My friend, he will answer you, but he will put you on a journey. Many of us need to be on a journey. Right? Many of us who have not found our husbands, our wives, the reason is because God needs to put you on a journey. Because there are things that you need to learn. If you don't learn them, you are not going to have a successful marriage. Number one. Number two, you'll find yourself in a dry place. A place that does not create success for you long term. Right? So if you're out there and you want to be married, there's nothing wrong with it. The Bible encourages us to marry. So the reality of the situation is, it's not just about the marriage though. It is about the fact is, have you yourself done the work that needs to be done? So if you haven't, by all means, pray. Ask the Lord, who's my husband? Who's my wife? Go and pray and fast. And the Lord will show you. Yeah, he'll show you. And how he shows you is that he puts you on a journey. Many of us are on a journey. You know what I'm saying to you? As someone says, single season for preparation. Yes, many of us need to be on a journey because you don't see your lack and how it will affect you in what you choose. I am one of them. And me, I'm telling you now, I am one of them. I need to even go and pray right now. You know what I'm saying to you? So I need to be able to go and pray, and be in a place where I can now begin to spot and see what healthy looks like, right? My final portion is too is, if you've seen, you guys have followed me, if you've followed me for a long time, you know, the work that it takes to do that journey, it's not easy, right? It's not easy. So when you look at the situation, it's not easy. As you've seen myself, if you followed me for a little while, how I used to react as an audience, I used to tell you, listen, in my head, I joked, it's like, if you really look at our relationship between myself and yourself, right? It's almost like a little marriage thing, right? And as the lead, how do you want me to behave? If I now don't know how to behave, my followers will not know how to behave. If I don't show you love, care, patience, endurance, if I don't cover you, if I don't protect you, if I'm not showing those things to you, guess what ends up happening? You're also going to feel it. In some sense, we're in a relationship right now. And so for me, and over the course of the years, I've had to learn from a lot of you, because you were saying that, Coach, that ain't it. Coach, that ain't it. My people that are on my panels, El Cid, Jay, Seaway, they will tell you, listen, Coach, I don't agree with you. That ain't it, right? And we'll have a back and forth, but we've got to learn, right? And it's all about learning. It's all about growing. And so in that space, it's all in very much important. So the people that you're following, the reality is, if that person is in a relationship, is that the kind of person you would want to be with in a relationship? If you always see me shouting and screaming, hollering, chatting poops, then you have to realize. Then you will realize that actually, it's like, I look at Kevin Samuels and things he says, and I go to myself, who would want to marry Kevin Samuels? And I look at Shira 7, I go, who wants to marry Shira 7? Not because they're not good-looking people, but because the things they say sound very manipulative. You want to manipulate people? Like, come on. Come on. You know what I'm saying to you? So that is what I'm saying to you. Like being able to being able to spot that is not easy, but you will be on a journey. So if you want to be married, there's nothing wrong with it. My final sentiment is this: if you want to be married, there is nothing wrong with it. What I would say to you is go pray and fast, and ask God to show you who. And He might not show you who, but He might show you where the journey begins. Right? He might not show you first and foremost who it is, but He might show you first and foremost where the journey begins. And you'll know because He'll start putting you in a certain situation, you start feeling it, that He's starting to stretch you and you ain't gonna like it. But that's where you need to be. That's where you need to be. Because the year that I've had, I've been stretched. And I'm not perfect. I've still been bad at certain points. I need to grow at certain points. The things that I'm saying, I'm like, oh my God, I was so immature before. The things that I used to do, I'm like, damn. I need to change my ways. You know? So it's all a part of it. Okay? All right. So I've got to love you and leave you guys, but I want to pray before we go. So Father, we thank you in the name of Jesus. We pray as we leave that, Lord, I pray for the ladies and the gentlemen in the chat who are listening to this. I just pray that, Lord, that they will have eyes to see. The Bible says that you pray that the eyes of their understanding are opened. I pray that, Lord, that they will have the same vision that you have, that they'll have the same ears that you have to be able to hear your commands and follow your instructions. Father, I pray that, Lord, that you will push them towards where you're calling them to be. I pray that they will yield and submit to your word and your instructions. I pray that, Lord, that you'll put them on their journey to being the best self and better of themselves. Father, I pray that, Lord, any devourer and the enemy of progress, any wicked, diabolical, unclean spirits out there, Lord, I pray that, Lord Almighty, that you cover your children with the blood. I pray that, Lord, that the blood of the Lamb speaks louder than Abel. I pray that, Lord, that your grace shall cover them, a hedge of fire around them. I pray that, Lord, your hand is upon them. They stand underneath the shadow of the Almighty. Father, I pray that, Lord, that though the enemy may seek to devour, kill, and steal and destroy, that, Lord, that you have given them the ingenuity, that they're not ignorant of the device of the enemy, that they will be able to walk in accordance, in alignment with your will. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Guys, it ain't easy. And we're not blaming her at all. I want to make it very, very clear. We don't blame her. We're rather saying, listen, I want to pray for that young lady and say, listen, as well, that I pray that the Lord will give her strength and the fortitude to move through the season, because what's happened, the guilt that she'll feel is unreal. You know what I'm saying to you? The guilt that she's going to feel is going to be unreal. And so I just pray that, Lord, I pray the Lord will be a comfort unto her in Jesus' name. I pray that the Lord will be a comfort to her, because she's always going to feel like it was her decision that took her there. But I want to make it very clear, that man is diabolical and he is evil. And so nobody else but him. All right. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, so we'll see you again soon. Let me end this. I don't even know how you end this live. I'm on YouTube trying to end this live. How do we end it? Okay, there we go. Okay.